Robinson we have to do is to eliminate fructose for 21 days. And these are the foods that she wants you to eliminate. First up, fruit. Now, you have pretty much all the fruits I recommend on the show here.
Yeah,
Some worse than
again,
others.
fruit is quite healthy for us, but for the people who can't tolerate it or are eating too much of it, cutting out most fruit at the beginning or even all fruit for 21 days can kind of help you see where you're at with it and what you can and can't tolerate. So I recommend starting with all fruit for 21 days, but especially the really high fructose fruit. So we start with the apples and pears, work our way down a little bit more. Berries are actually surprisingly high in fructose. Then we go to the bananas, grapes, and melons, and we work our way down to the other end where we have strawberries, pineapples, and grapefruit, which are the lowest fructose. But again, for 21 days, it's better to just kind of take it all out and see if the symptoms go away.
Is that a big deal, Amanda?
I mean, I was motivated to find a solution to my problem, so I figure you can do anything for 21 days.
Now, this part is the part that really is going to throw me off. Vegetables, which is, of course, the mainstay of what we should be eating. Why vegetables a problem?
So there's really a limited range of vegetables that are the big problem for people, and they're a problem because they actually contain this complex form of fructose called fructans, and some people can't tolerate those either. So the big groups are here, the broccoli, cabbages, and again, people are kind of familiar with those being a little gas-forming anyway. Tomatoes, garlic, onions, and then we have what a lot of my patients will call the fartichoke.
Fartichoke. Do you call them fartichokes?
No.
I've never called. I can use that in cocktail party conversation. All right. So these ones we're going to give off. And again, the other vegetables are generally okay.
Yes. So what you want to think about focusing on is the leafy greens, which are pretty much always okay for most people. Mushrooms, and then yams and all potatoes are really well digested. They don't have as much fructose. So for 21 days, you want to focus on those.
Okay. Now, there are lots of hidden sources of fructose, and you got to eliminate these. And some of these are surprising, I think, for a lot of our viewers. So go through them if you don't mind.
Yeah. So we start with the condiments here, which are the highest because they're really high in high fructose corn syrup. And then yogurt itself is okay, but if it's sweetened yogurt with fruit, then the fruit itself is the problem. So that can cause some gas and bloating. A lot of the snack bars that people eat have high fructose corn syrup. So you just want to read the labels and make sure they don't have fructose added or fruit juice or high fructose corn syrup. And then here we have a whole other class of foods that don't actually have fructose, but they have something called sorbitol, which is a sugar substitute, but it can actually decrease the body's ability to break down the fructose so it builds up. So a lot of the low-fat foods are sweetened with sorbitol, and then, believe it or not, chewing gum.
And why is bread on this category?
So a lot of people take gluten out of their diet because they think that's the problem. But for a subset of people who can't handle the fructose, there's actually those same fructans that are in the vegetables in wheat. So if you take wheat out of your diet, it may actually make a difference. And go for the gluten-free bread products.
So the gluten-free breads don't have those fructans either?
They don't, unless it has rye in it. So anything that has wheat or rye, that's the problem.
Now, in the meantime, we've taken out the foods that we're worried about, most of the fruits, the bad veggies, the fartichoke, so to speak, the hidden sources of high fructose corn syrup and the sorbitols. These are things you want to add back into your diet. If you don't mind, walk us through this. These are gut healing elements. Start with zinc.
So zinc is actually a mineral that can be found in a multivitamin, or you can take a supplement, about 15 milligrams a day. Most multivitamins will have enough. And you can also get it from your food. Zinc actually helps to heal the lining of the gut, to actually restore it. Pumpkin seeds and beef are some of our highest sources of zinc.
Folate.
Folate is important because when you're not absorbing your fruits and vegetables well, you become low in folate. And folate is an essential nutrient that we have to have for heart health, multiple important functions in our body. So getting green leafy vegetables every day, which are totally fine because they're low in fructose, or even adding a multivitamin that has folate in it, or taking 200 to 400 micrograms of folate every day as a supplement is really important.
Now, why probiotics important? I get the general health benefits to the gut, but why particularly for these issues?
So part of why people become fructose intolerant is that they may already be having some gut problems where their gut flora isn't great, and so they can't break down that fructose as well. So adding back in good gut flora, the natural ones that our gut likes to have in it, can help break down that fructose when we do add it back in. So a couple of sources that I recommend for people with fructose intolerance are miso, and then plain yogurt that has good added cultures back in it can be helpful for restoring the gut.
So you learned all this.
I did.
You made a bunch of meals for us.
I did.
These are sample meals. Did you really cook them all?
No.
But these are meals that I think a lot of folks can use as examples of how you apply this yourself for 21 days. So walk us through these if you don't mind.
Okay, so a typical breakfast for me would be scrambled eggs with some dill and shiitake mushrooms on gluten-free toast, just to spice up the eggs a little bit. I added some extra stuff to them. For lunch, I would have a niçoise salad, and for some added protein, put some salmon on there. And then for dinner, I did chicken thighs with miso paste, like Doctor was saying, with potatoes and yams with mushrooms, and then a small salad on the side for folate.
So it's not really a painful program to be on. It looks pretty delectable, actually.
Very easy.
It's super healthy.
So at what point, Dr. Ram, if you're on this 21-day elimination plan, do you know that it's the right plan for you to be on? When do you see the bloating get better?
It's actually amazing. It's a little bit different for everyone, but most of my patients actually say within 3 to 5 days, the gas is gone, the bloating is noticeably down, cramping, if they've been having loose stools, resolved. So you can actually see it just as few as 3 to 5 days.
How did it work for you, Amanda?
1 week.
In 1 week?
1 week, I could button my jeans. I felt so much better. I didn't have stomach aches after every meal. It was awesome.
Do you have the running stools also?
I did not.
Okay. I heard that before. I don't think most people with this problem have that. They have primarily the bloating, so find yourselves in that story. Okay, 21 days later, you've done the whole program, you gorged yourself in the meals that Amanda just showed us.
So good.
Now you have to slowly reintroduce these foods, because we actually want you to eat fruits and vegetables. How do you do that the right way?
So start with one fruit at a time. So pick one day, you're going to add in a low fructose fruit. So start with maybe berries, because even though they have fructose, people tend to tolerate berries really well. See how you do for that day. Even keep a food journal where a few hours after you eat, take note of how you feel. Have you started to get some bloating back? Are you feeling gassy or just kind of uncomfortable in your digestive system? If you are, then take that one out, and then the next day try another one. So maybe add in half a banana, and just keep doing that until you're kind of added in what you can tolerate.
We're going to have a list on DrOz.com of all of these foods, from the low to the high groups of fruits and vegetables, so you can sort of monitor yourself. All right, you took a log of the foods you ate.
I did.
And you started to do this process 21 days later. And this is your log, actually. We're going to pull out the thing that I'm most attentive to. The food that you tried first was a fruit. What was it, and how did it work?
I tried berries because I know they're low fructose. And I kind of didn't have any discomfort at all, and I'm like, wow, maybe that was never a problem in the first place. So then I moved on to an apple, and everything came back. I was bloated, my stomach hurt, I had stomach pains, my throat hurt, so I said, oh, I guess apples are a real big problem for me.
So Dr. Ram, what happens if you like apples, but you get bloated with them? Are they out of your diet for the rest of your life?
Not necessarily, and for most people, no. What I would say in a situation like Amanda's is take that back out, leave it out for a few months, keep adding in the things that you can tolerate, focus on those, and then a few months later, try adding back in the things that you couldn't. If you still can't add them back in, maybe that's not the best fruit or vegetable for you, and then just focus on the ones that you can.
Thanks for sharing your story, man. Appreciate it. Wonderful advice, Dr. Ram. For more of Dr. Ram's plan, and to find out if you're fructose intolerant,